Damien here. If you like today's show, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the link in the lower right hand corner or on our page. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello and welcome to the This Is Metal Show. And today our guest is Ven from the band Venrez. And I always get a kick out of that, Ven. When I realized that the name Venrez is a combination of the two names, that's quite unique.
Well, the band today is a very different version than the beginning.
Yeah.
There were quite a few different versions of it, but it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought I was too old to take it seriously at the time. I was like 54 at the time.
Oh my God. You're not in the grave yet, you mean? Oh my God. Hey,
a couple of the guys that actually pushed me to start recording and jamming, they've been friends of mine for 3 decades, and
wow.
They came up with that name, which I hated, by the way, because I'm very, very humble,
Oh, sure.
But I got outvoted by everybody, so I just said okay. And so it's a combination of Stephen Beret.
Oh, okay.
Spelled
Wow.
Berez. So the band is supposed to be pronounced Venrez, actually.
Oh, okay.
But some people call us Venrez, some people call us Venrez, and it doesn't really matter as long as
the cool thing, as long as they know the band they're talking about and they love it, find the records. I think the cool thing about that, people not knowing how to say the name, is it gets people talking.
Well, it's pretty much, it's like Sting and other artists like that. So Stephen Beret's my real name. That's
wow, I dig that too. And Ven,
but I go by Ven in music.
Yeah. And like you're saying, you have many lineup changes in the band, but probably your one main partner in the band the whole time has been your guitar player, Jason. You guys seem to have a great chemistry as far as your songwriting. Talk a little bit about him, and did you know that you guys had that chemistry right away?
Yeah, it was real interesting because when we started the band, Jason wasn't actually in it, and somebody else was writing the lyrics and the music. And one of Jason's good friends, who's a very good friend of mine, he was my roommate at the time, Tommy Johnson, a great singer-songwriter himself. He talked Jason into jamming with us.
Oh wow!
And we started jamming. It was just, we both felt it was kind of lame. So he was over at my house, and we went out on the patio and we had a talk. And I said, well, what do you really want to do, with your life? And he's like, I want to do music full time. I said, so do I. So we shook each other's hand and we fired everybody. And we sat down and literally in 10 or 12 days wrote the first record, which Jason doesn't acknowledge it anymore because it was like a record of freedom. It's the next record was Sell the Lie, so he considers it, but it was called Witch's Brew, which is actually a pretty good record. It's just that the freedom of being in control of our destiny now with the project.
Yeah.
It's just it's like a witch's brew of different type of songs, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So when we got to the next record, which Jason considers the first record, Sell the Lie, we had started to go in the direction of creating what would be the Venrez sound, right?
Oh wow!
Which ended up in 4 more indie records before. We got a record deal with Pavement, put out Purgatory Awaits, and now we'll Wake Up Music Rocks. And we have a new one.
I'm going to talk to my co-host Tom. I know you got to ask a million questions you want to ask Ven.
Oh, absolutely. I got to listen to some of your stuff and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'm a president of a record label myself too, and you got a good record label there. I looked at all the diversity on your. Was it Wake Up the Music? Great label.
Yeah.
They had some really cool bands on there. I like that a lot. What I was gonna say is Sip the Cup. That had like a political undertone in it. I just, maybe did I hear it, maybe I listened to it wrong or whatever. It just kind of
Well,
reminded me of
no, I mean, I usually take a shot at tyranny in government,
I love it.
you know, on every new record. I just emailed Jason the whole EP.
Yeah, I can forward it to Tom. Yeah.
So you guys can listen to the rest of it. But Sip the Cup is really about three things, you know. One, it's about how the horror of war,
Yeah.
and so the horror of ancient battles,
Okay.
and then the horror of modern warfare.
Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
it's also about reincarnation. So if you watch the music video,
Yeah.
which
I did.
I think in 2 months is already over 350,000 views. It's mostly AI, but the director did come to my house and we set up a white and black screen. So there's footage of me singing.
Yeah.
And then at times you'll see an AI figure of me that looks like me, but it's slightly different.
Wow.
And that's where you get that being reincarnated. So I'm being reincarnated over and over again as a lead singer in a rock band. Although, you know, I may have been reincarnated over and over again and been in a lot of wars, you know, a lot of ancient wars. So that's what it's about. Now, there's another song on the record you'll hear called War Machine, and that's an absolute attack against the deep state. You know? And so when you hear it, you know, maybe you can have me on the show again to review the entire record.
Yeah. In
But I
fact,
think
Tom,
War Machine takes a bigger shot at government talk.
In fact, Tom, I tell him we'll have him on, you know, back in a few weeks when we have an open date, because he wants us to do like a live on there review like we've been talking about doing. I think that'll be fun. So it'll allow you and me some time to really take a deep dive into the record and listen to it.
Yeah, because we met and I was on your show before. So you kind of still had, you know, the last record, which is a couple of years old. You know, we finished.
Well, I'm glad. I appreciate you sending that to us, and we will definitely check it out because, again, I didn't think the new album had been released, but I got to tell you, Sip the Cup. What I really, I dig it musically, especially the video. The music video, like you said, is all over the place, and I love it. It is really talking about the current times. I mean, I don't really care about what political side a person's on. I could talk. I could have a conversation with anybody. You know, I'm open to suggestion. I'm open, but what I hate is like the current president of the United States getting on TV and telling everybody, you know, don't believe your lying eyes. The economy's great. Inflation's great. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah.
Well, when you hear the new EP, and you hear War Machine, it's all about that, right?
Yeah.
It's about the industrial complex, and you know, I'm an independent. You know, I call myself an American. I am not part of the Democratic or Republican Party.
Yeah.
I vote for who I think is best for the country.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way it should be.
And I'm not a fan of Trump or Biden, that's for sure. Although there was no war for 4 years under Trump, and if you're talking about trillions of dollars the Lizard King didn't collect, so obviously they're making up for it right now. Right?
Sure.
The industrial complex.
I'll tell you, but one thing about the current people in power, that you know, they are just brutally. I mean, this is, I guess, with a lot of politicians, but brutally dishonest in the fact that, like, you know, Donald Trump gave a speech a couple of weeks back about his opinion on the current state of the auto industry, and they lied about a word he used called bloodbath, and they totally twisted around what he said. Now, again, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, but to like blatantly get up on, you know, TV, use your platform, to lie about why not report what was said in the context in which it was said, you know? And again, I'm thinking, wow, you know, because eventually you hear what was really said.
Well, you know, the Democrats have used the word bloodbath.
Yeah.
Not only the politicians, but the media, which is
sure. Yeah.
They basically, except for a few few outlets is just really a left-wing propaganda machine.
Yeah, yeah. Again, and
There's no journalism anymore. But
yeah,
I saw clips of like 15 of the most important public figures and on media and politicians, Democrats using the word bloodbath. But they obviously want to stay in power, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. And willing to do anything to get
things are
there.
pretty bad. Things are pretty bad. So
Yeah.
when you don't have anything good to run on, all you can do is attack Donald Trump. Like I said, I don't like either one of them, and I prefer to talk about music. But the last thing I'll say about it is, my life was a lot better during Trump's 4 years than it's been the last 3 years under Joe Biden. I mean, when I go to the grocery store, I just can't. I mean, just a standard, not from the butcher section.
Yeah, yeah.
But your standard average choice bone-in ribeye that used to cost me $12 to $15. I mean, it's $32.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It just, but you know, like you said, getting back to music, I think that's the beautiful thing about a song like "Sip the Cup" is it allows you, as an artist and a songwriter, to kind of use your music to express your views. And in listening to the song, I think a lot of people have the same opinion that kind of people in power, they lie to us, they try to give us these subliminal messages that we're supposed to follow and, you know, follow their lead, follow their command. Or, you know, I mean, again, even the current president getting up on TV and saying, oh, the United States is a racist country. Well, buddy, you're the head racist, you know, and they talk about everybody else being a racist. It's like, what have you done for me for the last 4 years? What, if I elect you president again, what are you going to do for me? Forget talking about what a jerk you think the other guy is. Tell us what you're going to do for us, you know, to make our lives better.
They don't, you know, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
And again, you know, I like to stay away from politics. I think musicians should really stay away from politics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very anti-war.
Yeah.
And so I do write songs that are very anti-war, and Sip the Cup is very anti-war. But the big dig against the industrial complex is War Machine, and you'll know that, Tom, when you hear it. And there's some really good songs on the record: "Cross the Line," "Who You Foolin'," "Hear 'Em Scream," "Love Dance," you know, War Machine. We had 64 songs to pick from, and the label only wanted 6.
Wow.
Malcolm Springer, producer out of Nashville, over 20 hit records, you know, worked with Tantric, you know, Matchbox 20, Collective Soul, a lot of major artists. On a producer level, also on an engineering and mixing level. So, you know, Jason got stage 3 colon cancer.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. How are you doing?
We played Las Vegas April 14th last year. Everybody, they all went back to LA. I live in Las Vegas now.
Oh, okay.
And he called me 3 days later and said he had colon cancer. So he actually did not tour this summer with us. We had a fill-in guitar player, Edgar Nieto, who's a childhood friend of our phenomenal bass guitarist, Gabe Mosca. You know, he had the 2 surgeries, and now he's on 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off of heavy duty chemo. So he just wasn't able to produce the record. He's produced everything. So, you know, Malcolm Springer produced it. I flew back there for a week and did the vocals. And I don't know, man, it seemed like it went to another level just to get a different pair of ears. Malcolm's got his finger on the pulse. You know, he's had several number ones. Yeah, he's produced several #1 hits on Billboard, you know, over the last year or so. Oh, wow. So, you know, he took it, I think, to another level. Jason's a phenomenal producer, and I would have been, I'm fine with him producing things. But when you get somebody with 20 hit records who's, you know, helped put some of the biggest bands on earth on the map, you know, having that different set of ears, it was just kind of cool. I think the EP it kind of grew in a different direction. And Jason admitted he liked a lot of the stuff that Malcolm did. And,
Yeah.
you know, Jason's on some of the songs in War Machine, but, you know, most of the record are like some real big name Nashville players.
Wow. It's almost like having a Bob Ezrin, like you're saying, an outside ear, which maybe in a way they can be more objective because maybe he didn't write the song, he wasn't as involved, but he can give more of a idea what outside people might think of the song.
Well, you know, like I said, Jason is a phenomenal producer,
Sure.
but you know, when you're sick as a dog,
Your health comes first, right? Yeah.
you know, you're battling cancer and you know, you just had a second surgery and you're on chemotherapy. It's pretty tough to produce something and be involved in the mixing process properly.
Sure.
So this is this is the first time we had a producer produce it and mix it. And some big cat out of New York, I forget his name, mastered it.
Okay.
The top guy in the business. Actually, Malcolm thought he'd retired, but he's still doing it. I don't know, you know, heart surgeons don't perform heart surgery on themselves, and attorneys don't represent themselves. You know, they have an attorney represent them. So, you know, maybe it's the direction we're going to go to in the future. But we're going to keep Edgar Nieto on guitar. And when Jason should be healthy enough to rejoin the band for the next tour.
Well, we hope for that. Yeah.
This summer. So we'll be a 5-piece, you know.
Wow.
We were a 5-piece from 2009 to 2014. And after that, we've been a 4-piece, but we're going to be a 5-piece again with 2 guitars. So it's going to be a killer band on stage.
Sounds like it. And you know, Tom, part of the reason I invited Ben to come on the show today, because I've interviewed him many times in the over a year, a super talented guy, as you heard in some of his music that you checked out. And he's been one of those guys, like a lot of musicians, has had many ups and downs in his career, but they're a little band that kind of always stuck around. In fact, he was telling me last time I interviewed him that he'd gotten to a point in his career where he was ready to kind of, you know, give up and just call it a day. And that very day that he was ready to do that, he got an email from somebody at Pavement Entertainment offering him a record deal. And he's like, man, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So
no, actually, I was going to quit. The pandemic had hit. I was losing time. You know, we had done a tremendous tour the last quarter of 2019 with LA Guns, and the band was on fire. We went into the studio in January and recorded 10 more songs, and Universal was talking to us, and then bam, March came and it was over. So we didn't even play a show again for 3 years. You know, our first show since New Year's Eve of 2019 was when in August of 2022 we headlined the Whiskey, and then we did a bunch of one-off shows, which led to our tour last summer with Buck Cherry, which was you know, an awful lot of fun. But Jason had come over, and I had laid my vocals on a new demo, you know, so he was doing his thing with it. And I'd been dreading all day telling him, knowing that at some point that night I was going to tell him I'm done. So he sent me a text. I was downstairs and he says, you know, I'm about to bounce the track. Why don't you come up and listen to it, right? Because I have a recording studio in my house. He has one, but my studio is also my office. Behind my screen I'm talking to you on is the studio. Wow. So there's another desk, computer, and all that stuff over there. So what I do while he's bouncing it is I just log on my computer to kill time. And right there in my email is a recording contract from Tim King, the vice president of Pavement Entertainment in Chicago. Pretty great label, you know, Dishwalla, Pedal of Mud, Candlebox, you know, Ted Nugent. And I looked at it and I said, hey, we just got a record deal. So I realized at that moment that it went from ending to actually just beginning. That's what
Relaunching.
happened.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, and now we decided to not do an option with Pavement and sign with Wake Up Music, mainly because Wake Up is able and willing to do a lot of things for us that Pavement wouldn't do, and I like being part of a record company and helping build that. And Pepper Gomez owns it. She's really knows what she's doing, and they have Wake Up Music Rocks and Wake Up Music, and everything's under Wake Up Music Group. So they also handle EDM, and they have some of the top EDM people in the business.
Wow.
They do both, rock and EDM.
Yeah, and Venrez has always had great album covers, like even the one for the upcoming EP, killer artwork. Talk a little bit about that, because that's something you must take great pride in, because I always notice it's looking album covers.
Yeah, it's in the past, I pretty much designed the album covers.
Okay.
With Purgatory Awaits and like Element 115, I designed it. But with Children of the Drones, which I think up until this record is the best thing we put out.
Yeah.
I had an idea and I hired an artist from a website who took my idea and made it real. Oh, wow. So what happened is there's a director who directed our last music video, Show Me, which actually got us the record deal with Pavement. Diana Puzakova, who's just an amazing music video and documentary film director. Wow. And she does a lot of that work, but she also has a AI streaming class with some partners with numerous students, So they held a contest to design the album cover. And we went with, and there were 50 submissions.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. To be able to take from 50. Wow.
Yeah. And I sent them all to our management and the record company, and we all pretty much agreed on the one we went with.
Oh, wow. So Tom, Tom's a songwriter too. He writes he's a principal songwriter for his band. So you and him have a lot in common. So you want to ask Ben anything about his songwriting process, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a few questions for him, but we'll talk about that. But the first question I have for you is, there must be a strategy behind you releasing a six song EP. Do you are you getting ready to do a full album to follow this up?
Well, you know what? The industry's just changed so much that's what the record companies want, new artists on the rise. That's all they really want to do. New bands on the rise are just releasing singles and 6-song EPs. The only ones that are releasing full lengths are, real name branded bands. So it's not us necessarily. I mean, I've got 5 records worth of stuff. Full 10 song EPs. I mean, LPs, full lengths.
Sure.
We've got, I don't think we need to record anything new for years to come. We got so much. But that, that's
is it coming out on vinyl? Is it coming out on vinyl or just?
That's up to the record company. Vinyl is something that the branded bands do. I mean, if the label's really kind of pushing college radio, they'll do that. I think at some point we probably will. It's coming back. Yeah. That's kind of when we were independent, we did what we wanted to do. But when you're with a record company, they have licensing rights and all these different things. So you can't just do that. They have to be behind it. But all Pavement wanted was a 6-song EP, and all Wake Up Music wanted was a 6-song EP. And I think
kind of the modern way, I guess, of doing things. But I will say this, then, in watching the music video for "Sip the Cup," it left me with a feeling. Wow! First of all, the video just impressive, just beautiful eye candy. Love the song. It got my attention. I'm thinking, man, this is just one song. I can't wait to hear. And I'm going to after we get done doing this because you just sent me and Tom, your latest album to kind of check out. And we're going to do that and have you back and do a live review on the air. So that'll be the first time we've done something. We've been wanting to do that. But just hearing the one song in the video, it's like, man, I can't wait to hear the rest. That is such a good song.
I think it's the best, you know,
body of wanting more.
Well, whether it's a 6-song EP or a 10-song, you know, I mean, I think Children of the Drones was the best record we ever recorded till now. You know, Purgatory Awaits was a great record. Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction actually drummed 4 of the songs because our drummer was trapped in France, so we wouldn't let him.
I remember.
But I think Sip the Cup is the best one. Tom, in talking about songwriting, you know, sometimes Jason will come over and we'll just start something from scratch on the spot. Or he'll send me music and I'll write lyrics to it. And he'll sing the demo and come over and I'll lay the vocals. Or I'll send him lyrics and he'll write music to it. You know, we go both ways with it. It was Sip the Cup. He was just over at my house. We finished putting my vocals on a demo. And he just got a musical idea. And he wrote the music for Sip the Cup and gave me a flash stick. Said, here, put this on your computer and write the words to it. Yeah. The way the song kind of moved.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of the more difficult songs for me to figure out what I wanted to write and make it flow right.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it takes me 10 minutes. Wow. But this one took me a matter of days to figure it out. And, you know, we didn't think it was going to be the single. You know, we thought Cross the Line would be the first single. It's going to be the second single.
Yeah, because, you know, the interesting thing listening to the song is vocally, I mean this in a good way, vocally it's all over the place, and yet it has a nice flow to the song somehow. Just kind of flows.
Well, thank you very much. It's just, you know, once Malcolm and I had finished getting my vocals down, and he started doing some mixes, it just became obvious it was the first single. I didn't think it was a radio single at all till that point. But the radio promoter, the management, the record label felt it was the first song to release. So, and they were right. They know what they're doing. I mean,
fairly so, yeah. I mean, yeah. I really dig the song in the video. And, you know, I was curious, as a vocalist, when you're doing it live, you know, you're up playing it in concert, I'm sure you don't play the song the way it is on the record, in the sense that if I want to stay homeless on the record, I'll do that. I want to be entertained when I go see a band play live. You must kind of take certain liberties with the songs, maybe.
Well, you know, yes. And, you know, there's some bands that sound just like the record. You know, like Muse is insanely great. And they're playing live, and you know they are, but it sounds just like the record. I saw Franz Ferdinand, who, by the way, I like very much. And when I saw the show, I thought I was just listening to the record. But if you see the Rolling Stones, or if you see Aerosmith or Green Day, you know, these are raw
in your face, yeah.
Rock and roll bands. And we go off the feel of the crowd.
Exactly. You feed off the crowd, yeah.
So every show's a little bit different. Do we change the arrangements a little bit sometimes for live performances? Yeah, yes, we do. I'm kind of curious what we're going to come up with, because we're going to play 4 of the songs off the new EP, Sip the Cup, on tour. 2 off Purgatory Awaits, the last record we did for Pavement. And what's that, 6 songs, and then 3 of our hits from our past 5 indie records.
Wow. Yeah.
So I can't wait to get rehearsal and just see.
Yeah, because again,
what it comes up with, how it sounds. You know.
and your audience is ever growing, Ben. I mean, like you're not like one of those bands that got the same 50 fans, still hanging around. I mean, your audience with each new release, you get more and more fans, and I think it can only go up from here. And I think that just speaks volumes about the band's talent as songwriters and the music. I mean,
Well, we have over 600,000 active fans now.
yeah, wow.
Unfortunately, some hacker got into our Venrez fan page on Facebook. Yeah, and he hacked it and got the page deleted.
Yeah.
So I lost 340,000 active followers there in 14 years of building that page.
Oh, wow.
I'm fighting with Facebook to get it restored, and who knows if
Good
it
luck
will
with
or
that,
won't.
huh?
But it doesn't really matter anymore because it's all TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, everything's always changing. That's at times nothing stays the same, but you got to just kind of go with the flow. Have you guys had a chance to tour outside the U.S.? Have you gone to other countries?
Well, that's pretty much all we did for a very long time. Our first two tours were Europe and the UK.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah, 2010 and 2011. Then in January and February of 2012, we did our first ever USA tour with Fuel.
Like, wow, we finally played our home country.
Yeah, we even played the Super Bowl Village show in Indianapolis for 73,000 people a few days before the Super Bowl in 2012. And then that summer, we toured with Alice Cooper here.
Alice, I love Alice. Yeah, he's what a cool guy.
Then the next summer, we toured with Slash here. And then we went back to Europe with Buck Cherry and Hardcore Superstar.
Oh, that must have been quite a show, quite a tour.
It was, and that was in 2014. So last year we reunited with Buck Cherry and toured with them here in the United States. But we're really well known in Europe and the UK.
I mean, you're one of those bands that's been around for years. They're like the best little secret, and every couple of years they put out a new release, and more people find out about them.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's that time, guys, to wrap up the show. Van, as always, I had a blast talking. I'm glad you got to meet my partner, Tom. We're definitely going to contact you about coming back and doing that live on their review in a few weeks. Just give us some time to hear a new record, because I want to really listen to it in detail and be able to have a lot to say when we do the show. So take care, my friend. And this will be going up like in 2 weeks. I'll be sure to tell you, and feel free to share it. Okay, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely will. Thanks for having me, and nice seeing you too, Tom. Take care.
Thank you, folks, for watching. This is Metal. Bye for now.